Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And last Friday at frickin' 3:30 in the morning, a ping was sent forth. A ping announcing an announcement later in that same day concerning changes to one of the single biggest events that occurs in World of Warships twice a year, King of the Sea. Now, King of the Sea is the big player tournament that occurs twice a year. It's open to anyone from across the various regions. You can form a team, sign up, and see how well you can do in this King of the Sea tournament. But this announcement was teasing big changes to this tournament. And well, later in the day, a voice chat was had that apparently I couldn't go to with the players that were available at 10:30 in the morning on a Friday, at least in North America, when many of us are, of course, working. But anyway, in that voice chat, there were several large changes announced to King of the Sea. Now, many of you watching may be thinking, well, why is this important to I? I don't usually partake in tournaments, and, I'm just an average Joe playing the game. Well, see, the beauty of King of the Sea is that any fella could get together a group of players, form a team, and just see how you do. In fact, this is becoming a very popular trend, as I believe the King of the Sea, the one before the last one, so that should be King of the Sea 15, I believe, had something like 168 teams sign up, which was the biggest King of the Sea in history. So, yeah. Doing pretty well, right? And pretty popular with the player base. And King of the Sea is, I see it kind of as the game's endgame, right? Like, you grind up the ships that you want, you get better as a player, you partake in ranked clan battles. Well, what's beyond that? That's King of the Sea, right? So, anyway, some big changes were kind of announced. It's very confusing. How have I acquired this knowledge if I was not there? Well, I've listened to a couple of recordings of bits and pieces of the meeting, and I've talked to players that were able to attend, so that's how I'm getting this information. Also, to note is that apparently a dev blog is coming out 2 weeks, quote-unquote, after this little voice meeting, so should be not this Friday, but next Friday. This should all be in writing. It'll be interesting to see what changes from the initial voice announcement to dev blog, as I think a lot of this does need to maybe either not happen, or it definitely needs a closer looking at with community involvement at least. But anyway, we'll go over the concrete changes. So first off, KOTs is going to become a once-a-year tournament. And it's going to invitation only. Meaning that you can no longer just get your friends together, form a KOTs team, and try to see how far you can go playing against other teams that are trying to, do the same thing that you are. So now it's invitation only. And it's only happening once a year. So how do you manage to secure an invite into this tournament? This once open tournament, now closed tournament. Well, you have to earn points by partaking in wargaming tournaments, so I'm assuming that means wargaming sponsored tournaments or wargaming backed tournaments, and clan battles. You now have to literally grind in clan battles to earn a spot in KOTs. And, well, they weren't overly clear on how the point system worked. Sounds like it's still very much in progress, shall we say. So as far as the clan battles part goes, your ranking in clan battles contributes to your points, and it's either 40% of your overall points or 60%. At points in the meeting, it was told that clan battles doesn't make up a majority of the points, and apparently when some players asked, they were told 40%, but then when other players asked, or they asked somebody else, they were told 60% of the points are made up from clan battles. So it's 40% or 60%. Again, sounds like they're not really sure on that just yet. Again, this isn't a concrete thing. That's just what we know right now from what was said in the meeting. Again, sounds very much work in progress. So you have to grind clan battles either way in order to acquire points for the entry into KOTs. And you still have to partake in wargaming tournaments, which, okay, if you're a fan of the tournament format, not really a fan of clan battles, because clan battles, if you haven't been playing them recently, especially in North America, it's pretty tiresome playing the same, 5-6 clans over and over and over again, as it is, as it has been, I should say, for the past several seasons, right? So if you're looking forward to this, KOTS tournament and playing in a tournament style, well, you still got to grind your way through clan battles. So even if you do wind up playing these tournaments and doing quite well, if you don't partake in clan battles, doesn't sound like you're going to be able to get an invite into KOTs. So, yeah, right off the bat, I don't like that it's going to an invitation-only format where, your average Joe can't just, again, get together their friends and form a team and try to, get as far as they can in the big tournament, right? And this was a very popular thing to do. I believe the KOTs before last, so KOTs 15, you had like 160-something teams sign up for it, which is the most in KOTs history. So that's pretty substantial, right? And then they go and close it off to everybody. So the way KOTs usually worked is that you had, qualifiers, regionals, depending upon, of course, whatever region you're in, and then you had the big KOTs International. So you would have the winners of, the regional KOTs for North America, SEA, EU, and in the past, Russia, right? And then they would all come together, and the winners there would take, the top two from those regions would then fight in KOTs International for the title. So what's happening to these regional tournaments? Well, they're being rebranded, and they're no longer under the KOTs name, and they're just going to be standalone tournaments that you have to partake in to, again, earn points to potentially get invited to KOTs. And another thing that I don't really like is that they weren't really specific on how exactly the point system is going to work. Because on one hand, during the meeting, it sounded like it's based solely on clans and solely on a team, which I'm not really sure how you're gonna track that across, clan battle seasons and tournaments, because I don't know if, other servers don't have this problem, but, people in North America have jobs, and some parts of the year we have one set of players that can get on and play pretty consistently. They can get on pretty much every night for clan battles or whatever tournament we're partaking in. And then sometimes of the year we have a different set of players that can get on pretty regularly, get on clan battles every night and partake in whatever tournaments we're taking part in, because, some people's schedule changes based on their job. And I'm a teacher, so in the summer I'm more available, and in the fall and in the winter, not so much, right? So I'm not sure how they're going to be tracking the teams, and that was something that was specifically said during the meeting, that it's based upon teams. And in fact, when you do get into KOTs, your 10 to 15 player teams, which, if you don't know, you can sign up, 10 to 15 players during KOTs, so you can swap out between those fellas. Apparently, your rating gets affected if you do more than a handful of swaps, swapping in and out players. Because again, Billy Bob can make it during this time of the year or this time during the day, or if something comes up because life happens, you may have to swap him out. And 5, 6, 7, 8 times, they didn't really give us a hard number on how many swaps before your rating was affected. But apparently, if you swap out too many people, your rating gets affected there as well. So that's, kind of screwy in my opinion. Again, none of this is solid just yet. There is still supposed to be a dev blog coming out later, going over more of these changes. And in terms of like overall, the feeling that I was getting from talking to the players that were there and then listening to some of the recordings I have access to, it sounds like it's going to be incredibly exclusionary, right? That this is just going to be for the best of the best now, and that's it. No one else can partake in KOTs. Which once was a big community tournament. It sounds incredibly convoluted, because I guess just the old tournament format where two teams fight and you win or you lose was too much of a problem, so they're going to this now. So just imagine this, right? You get a team together, or a clan, or whatever, however the hell they're tracking your progress and applying your points, right? And you somehow get that same group of 10 to 15 people to grind through clan battles. You know, you finish in Hurricane, you do well, and you place well in your server, and then you go to the Wargaming back tournaments, and you do well in those, and you finally get an invitation to KOTs. And keep in mind, apparently a lot of these tournaments are going to be happening in the summer-ish area, and then KOTs is happening in the fall. So again, people with varying job schedules, or those of us that go to college, right? Schedule can change, but okay, whatever. And then, since it's only one big tournament, it's more than likely sounding like it's going to be based on the EU times. So that is a bit of a monkey wrench in the fall to be having to show up to a tournament on the EU timetable, because, well, North America, again, if you're East Coast or West Coast, that's a pretty big time differential. If you're in like Australia, because most of the Australians play in the North American server, I know many of the fellows from the land of the Upside Down.
Yo, where them kangaroos at?
Yeah, those hours are kind of hellish. And then, if you're a poor sap on the Haitian server, like, already for them, it's like a 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Start time for those guys that do make it to KOTs finals, right? To the finals for KOTs. That's a little hellish. So, yeah. And again, keep in mind, the regional KOTs is gone. Those tournaments are no longer going to be under the KOTs name and not related to KOTs, other than just earning the points. So, yeah. Now, they did say that they were going to be taking a look at the timetable for the KOTs tournament. I keep wanting to say KOTs, international, but it's just KOTs now, because that's what they're going to. But that's like, what are you going to do? Like, most of the staff, from my knowledge, they're based out of Europe, right? That run and officiate KOTs. Are they going to, maybe just put it somewhere in the middle, to where it's not just, favoring the European player base, and it's not making the SEA guys wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning? That would be kind of nice, but I don't think so. I mean, if they do, good, kudos to them. But yeah, obviously this is becoming an incredibly exclusive tournament and is excluding a large part of the player base. Why? Well, the reasons that were given is that they wanted to make KOTs something truly special and a standout tournament. At the same time, they wanted to have more regional-based tournaments or lesser tournaments that are less competitive, that you can, bring players of a lower skill level into and still have the tournament experience. But was that not what KOTs was doing already? Because, I mean, like, yeah, there's other tournaments that are ran, some sponsored by Wargaming, some not, that these players can partake in. And KOTs is kind of like, no, it's the big one. It's, the state finals, for those of you that played sports in high school or whatever, or the national finals if you manage to make it that far. It's the playoffs. Yeah, you may not get too far in it, but it's a pretty big thrill to, get a team together and go into it and just go for it, right? And now you can't do that because it's becoming, incredibly exclusive at this point. And I can kind of get the whole, like, we want to do more tournaments, so maybe if we can, because organizing 160-something teams and getting them all press accounts, because that's, according to the KOTs rules, you have to have a press account to play now. Yeah, that can be a bit of a daunting task. I can understand that. So maybe taking those resources and providing, smaller tournaments, maybe less competitive tournaments for the masses, sure. But still, why not keep KOTs open to the public in some way, shape, or form? I understand maybe not, going full bore, again, having to make 160 something teams. You got 15 players a team. That's a lot of press accounts, right? But just in some way still keeping it open. And what I really don't get is why the clan battles grind. Because if you're just going to have these smaller regional tournaments, surely you could take the maybe the top 4, top 5 from each of these regional tournaments, and then, give them the invite to KOTs, right? I don't know why they don't want to use the KOTs branding on these now rebranded regional tournaments, but whatever, and invite them. So now you got to find a group of 10 to 15 guys that can grind their lives away in clan battles if you want a chance at getting KOTs. Which, again, like we talked about, your clan battles guys probably fluctuate throughout the year, and your clan battles team probably isn't necessarily your KOTs team because of, again, different times throughout the year, different player interest and such. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of a lot of these changes. And from what I've heard from a lot of the players that I've talked to, some of the players that, they go to KOTs every single year, they're not that big of a fan of these changes either. And the tone throughout the meeting was kind of weird too, from what I heard. Like, in some cases it was like, yeah, no, we wanted to run these by you. In some cases it was like, oh, this is what we're doing, right? So I'm not sure if this was kind of like just kind of quickly put together and it's like, okay, we got this, let's just run with it, right? Or if it was meant to be kind of we want to get some feedback from the community. But then again, you're doing it at 10:30 in the morning in Central US time, which is kind of awkward for a lot of people in North America, because 10:30 on a Friday, again, most people in North America have jobs, right? So we're all at work. So why not have a form that you can fill out, or a proper announcement, proper text announcement, where those that miss the meeting can, read what you have to say and fill out a feedback form, rather than having a voice-only meeting for an hour and a half, right? So it's just very odd the way they're going about doing this. And then having the dev blog coming out 2 weeks after a voice-only meeting with no provided recording from Wargaming side of things. So it just strikes me as a little odd the way this was handled. So again, it's either a very rushed thing or something funny's going on, of which I don't know, right? Because it's Wargaming. It surely could just be that it's rushed. It's not the first time Wargaming's rushed something in the past, right, fellas? So it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. Could something fishy and funny and some funny business be going on? Maybe so. I don't know for sure. And again, the only thing that we know for sure is that KOTs is going to once a year. It's going to become an invitational tournament, and you have to earn points in Wargaming back tournaments and clan battles. That's all we know 100% for sure. Everything else was kind of given with the caveat of it's a work in progress. So that's what's going on with KOTs. Again, one of the largest events in the game that, used to occur twice a year, now is going to occur once a year, and only be open to a very, very small part of the community, where it was open to a larger part of the community in the past. So that's what's going on. That's the news for today. Like I said, I'm not a fan of a lot of these, I don't know if they're proposed changes or changes in progress or changes that are for sure going to happen. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Just want to keep you guys informed with what's going on in the game. So hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday, a wonderful rest of the week. I hope to catch you guys in the next one.